What's going on, guys? Kyle Cardoza here. I wanted to make this video because I've had something heavy on my mind for about a week now, honestly. Ever since the artist JuiceWrld passed away last Sunday, a lot of things have been going on in my mind in terms of how he was really the last one in terms of the era of the SoundCloud rap generation, in terms of the greats like XXX, Lil Peep, and obviously, JuiceWrld, how that whole SoundCloud rap movement came to an end with JuiceWrld's death, which is extremely unfortunate. So just a couple things that I wanted to touch upon today. Now that JuiceWrld has passed away, it's been about a week now. A lot of people have been going over, looking at some of the things that he was saying in his songs, saying in his interviews, and just finding these things that are coincidences and matching up with how he exactly died, going back to multiple songs and matching up with what he was saying in his songs and how his life ended up ending. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is looking at some of these greats, some of these generational legends that I want to call them, and seeing what they were doing, their actions, the things that they were saying in their songs, in their music videos, in their interviews, and seeing how it ultimately led and manifested into their untimely demise. As I said, we're going to be covering 3 of the main artists here with a bonus artist towards the end, but those 3 main artists being Lil Peep, XXXTentacion, and JuiceWrld, and I will be talking about all of this next. So obviously with these 3 legends passing, I'm going to talk about the most recent one that passed, JuiceWrld. A lot of people looking at JuiceWrld as kind of an example on manifestation, an example on you really have to be careful with what you say, what you think, with your emotions, all of these different types of things. And one thing that I do want to point out, in terms of going and looking at his song, is his song Legends. Now, within this song, he released it 3 days after XXXTentacion was unfortunately shot and killed. And it was mainly a tribute song to both X as well as Lil Peep. And in that song, I actually have it up right here on my phone. He showcases a private conversation that him and X had both had in their Instagram DMs. And it starts with X telling him, you're the truth, just be careful what you manifest. That's my honest response. JuiceWrld then responds, thank you, much love to you. And X then says, if you need anything, you ask me. I read good energy from you. Make sure that's the only energy you put yourself around. With the JuiceWrld finally replying and saying, much appreciated, but how can I surround myself with good energy when it's bad energy everywhere, it seems like. And this was the song cover for this particular song. So a lot of emphasis on X telling JuiceWrld, be careful what you manifest, be careful what you speak into existence, what you think into existence, what you really put yourself around in general. So his hook lyric in this song Legends is he says, what's the 27 Club? And with those particular lyrics, the 27 Club is an infamous club in terms of a lot of good, talented artists that are considered legends dying at the age of 27. A lot of notoriety, a lot of notorious type of musical artists dying at that particular age. And with our new age, I guess you could say, rappers coming from SoundCloud, it seems like a lot of them aren't making it past the age of 21 or living a little bit into 21 and then dying. And JuiceWrld, in the lyrics, he says, we ain't making it past 21. And this is a song where, when he was creating it, he put a lot of effort into it. He put a lot of emotion into this particular song. A lot of his thought, a lot of his energy went into this song. So when he says we ain't making it past 21, he's in and of itself manifesting that for himself. We ain't making it past 21. They tell me I'm gonna be a legend now. And some people, especially around the time that song came out, immediately saw JuiceWrld as a legend because he was different. He was a different type of artist, and he blew up instantly. That's how much popularity he had gained overall. It's extremely eerie that he made such a popular song, he had such a great career ahead of him, and really truly was on the cusp of his greatness. But 6 days, 5-6 days into his, first year being 21, he dies. He never even made it a week past being 21. So it really just goes to show, in terms of your emotion, in terms of your thoughts, in terms of the emotion and the energy that you're putting towards your work, you really have to be careful in terms of what you're saying, what you're wording, because when he says we ain't making it past 21, he's including himself in that line. He didn't say they're not making it past 21. He specifically said we, including him, including X, including Lil Peep. So this particular line is extremely eerie when it comes to thinking about his particular death. Now, the next legend that I want to talk about on this particular video is going to be XXXTentacion. This was an individual who had a bit of a controversial past in terms of some of the legal troubles that he got himself into, but we're not going to focus on that on this particular video. But he was overall a mega superstar, blew up extremely fast, had a massive following, a really, really cult-based following, and was really kind of the leader, I would say, in terms of this whole SoundCloud rap movement, with him making a prominent name for himself in the industry and overall paving the way for future artists to kind of make their name in that industry with the SoundCloud platform. Artists like Trippie Redd, artists like Lil Pump, really kind of made that platform what it is today. Now, one thing that I want to focus on in terms of XXXTentacion was he was an extremely spiritual-minded type of individual. He understood the laws of the universe. He understood karma. He understood spiritual awareness. He understood all of these different things in terms of spirituality, in terms of mental habits, in terms of how powerful our thoughts are. And this is something that he had preached about constantly to his fans, more so to his younger fan base, making sure that the youth were having a positive outlook on life, having positive thoughts, and really just overall helping them get through their depression.
Slavery is not physical anymore, it's mental. As far as the New World Order has come in the shape of electronics. You know what I'm saying? Taking away your mind from what you want to apply it to. The mind is but a magnet to what you want. You know what I'm saying? The law of attraction, like all the laws of the universe, I studied all the laws of the universe, you know what I'm saying? And I fully apply that.
So was there someone in your life that introduced you to that, or just something you just kind of gravitated towards?
I was born with the knowing of it. It was strange. That's why I felt like I knew. Like I believe, like I'm a really weird kid. I believe in past lives and future lives. I believe in the karmic cycle. I believe you will repeat this life until you get it right. I believe until you align the karmic cycle, nothing else.
But although he had, that positive side to him, he did have a dark side. You could tell in his music he was an extremely depressed person. And he even says in multiple interviews how he was sad, how he was alone, why he tatted alone on his face, literally. And there was a lot of different demons that he was fighting inside of himself. Now, if you are a new XXXTentacion fan or an old X fan, you'll know his change in music in and of that. In his past songs, he was talking a lot about death, talking a lot about dying young, just a lot of different types of songs that included him, dying, telling his listeners that he had death on his mind. Just all these different types of things in terms of him dying at a young age. Now, one song that I want to highlight in particular out of all the songs that he has is the song Train Food, which is on his album Skins, which released posthumously after he passed away, unfortunately. Now, just looking at his lyrics here for the song Train Food, he says,
"You ever woke up on the train track with no motherfucking clothes on? That before your eyes, you praying to God, but ain't no response. Trying to scream for hope, just a shoulder that you can lean on. But ain't nobody coming, so you scream on and scream on and scream on. Wanna see what fuck laugh at you. Train getting closer, you still surprised that he bad at you. Tears falling harder and harder, minutes get minuscule. Could've had a son or a daughter, now what you finna do? You finna die here on this train track, cause clearly after death ain't no way you can find your way back. Thinking about your previous memories going way back. All them fucking dreams by the diamond chain in the Maybach. Now your time finally up. Ask yourself the final question, is you going down or up? Recollecting all the moments that you never gave a fuck. Now it's here, death has now arrived, time's finally up.
Now, that song right there is an extremely death-heavy type of song. And one thing that I want to point out in that particular song is when he says, could have had a son or a daughter, now what you finna do? You're gonna die here on this train track, because clearly after death, ain't no way you can find your way back. focusing on the could have had a son or a daughter, now what are you gonna do? It's ironic that he has this song out, a song that he had recorded, a song that he had put thought into, a song that he had put his emotion into. And he obviously, unfortunately, was robbed at gunpoint, was murdered and killed. And after his death, 3 days later, only 3 days later, it was announced that he was gonna have a son. His son's now been born. His name is Gekyum. But it's very ironic that after he dies, it's announced he will be a father posthumously, which is extremely unfortunate. His child's never gonna get to know never get to meet his father, which is very sad. And his child was born only 3 days after what would have been X's 21st birthday. So just even more of an ominous kind of feeling. And that's something that I really want to pinpoint right there in terms of manifestation. This is something that he had put his thought towards. This is something he had put his energy towards, his emotion towards when creating this song, not knowing and understanding that energy, that manifestation, that thought that he had put into the song was going to come back around and get him. And that's exactly what happened. He died, he had a son. His son's never gonna get to know his father. It's very, very unfortunate. But one thing with X was he was always talking about death. He was always talking about dying. Another example that I wanna show here is just some of the tweets that he had tweeted in the past. Which are very concerning tweets and just goes more into the fact that this is what he was manifesting overall. On January 28th, 2016, he tweeted, "If you kill me, you're granting one of my biggest wishes and I'll be forever grateful." On January 23rd, 2014, he tweeted, "Kill me for my birthday. That'll be the best present any of you motherfuckers can give me." On June 8th, 2017, he had a concert beforehand, I believe before this tweet, and he had gotten knocked out on stage at the concert. And after some time had passed, he put up on his Twitter, basically referring to the concert, "Next time, make sure you kill me so I can't talk shit." And again, here on November 2nd, 2013, someone killed him. And again, on December 29th, 2015, "Kill me, someone please." So just these tweets that he's tweeting out, the songs that he's putting out, and there are many other songs that X has in terms of talking about death, but this one specifically I chose because of the fact that it's extremely ominous on how things played out in terms of this song, in terms of his tweets. These are all just different manifestations that he had created for himself. And it's ironic because it really goes to show that you have to be careful with your present day thoughts, because towards the end of his life, he had switched his mindset. He was on a positive path. He was on a great road. He was doing very well in life, promoting positive events. He even put up an Instagram post for a charity event he was gonna have that weekend that he died, unfortunately. And it goes to show that your past thoughts, no matter even if you're positive now, your past thoughts will catch up with you eventually. So even though he was at the peak of his career, he was at the cusp of his greatness, he had just bought a new, I believe, $1.4 million mansion in Florida to move into. A lot of things were going good for him at the time, and his life was just cut short, just like that. But his life was cut short because of the fact that that's the energy he was putting out. That's the energy that he was manifesting, and that's what he put out into the universe. And it's ironic, I guess you could say, because he understood, as I said, spiritual awareness, karma. He understood the universe, the laws of the universe. But I believe, unfortunately, with his past actions, his past habits, and his past thoughts, it was already too late for him because he had put out so much of that energy, so much of kill me, I want to die young, things like that. So much of that unfortunately it all culminated into a massive ball of energy and manifested into his untimely demise, which is very unfortunate. And even with X's last Instagram live video, he had this to say.
Alright, let's say worst thing comes to worst, I fucking die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive, and to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made
at least 5 million kids happy. Or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life. Regardless of the negative around my name, regardless of the bad things people say to me, I don't give a fuck. Because I know my goal in the end, and I know what I want for everyone, and I know what my message is.
And that particular video is extremely ominous. It had happened near the time that he had, unfortunately passed away. And it's just crazy because it's just him again, putting more of that energy out there, putting more of that thought out there of the possibility that, yeah, you know what, I can die. Yeah, someone can kill me. He's putting out that energy, which is just culminating into an eventual manifestation of what eventually happened to him. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about, and the last thing that I want to talk about in terms of X, is he called into the No Jumper podcast, and I'm going to play the clip right here.
When do you plan on dying?
Probably like 25. Probably like 25, 27.
25, huh?
Good year.
I don't think they'll want me to be alive while my kid's alive, because if we are, then I'll just rule the earth.
Now, you can see in that video, he says that him and his son aren't going to be alive at the same time. This is something that he just put out there into the universe. This is something that his words, the spoken word, had become his literal reality, where his son was born and he was in the ground. Again, just a powerful manifestation that he had put out there into the universe, that it literally gave him back. He asked for this, and this is what happened. Now, one of the next artists that I'm going to be talking about is Lil Peep. Now, with Lil Peep, I don't know as much about Lil Peep personally. I've heard a couple of his songs, thought they were extremely good, but I haven't particularly looked into his music as much as I have JuiceWrld and XXX. But with Lil Peep, I still see examples of things that he was manifesting in general, in terms of him talking about dying young. Particularly with his album Come Over When You're Sober Part 1, he has a song in the album called Better Off Dying. And another song that he has, besides Better Off Dying, is he has a song entitled Little Kennedy. And in the song he says, really, with that last one saying, put me in, unfortunately, that car and drive me to my grave. And that's essentially what he was saying in that song. Now with Lil Peep, I'm sure there are more songs that he has with him talking about dying, with him talking about death. But those are just two songs, two examples that I had found in terms of Lil Peep. As I said, I wasn't too much of a listener of his, but again, it goes along with be careful what you say, be careful what you essentially wish for, and what you put your energy towards. Now, this last artist is someone that I've been listening to since I was in high school. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been listening to him since you were in high school as well. And a legend in and of his own right as well. Didn't necessarily come from the generational SoundCloud rap movement, but still made a movement on his own, really showcasing that you don't need a major label to make it. He was just a kid, making music, and he made it big. And that legend that I'm talking about is Mac Miller, of course. Now with Mac Miller, people always remember him as an overall positive person. He was very goofy, funny, very nice and caring guy. But one thing that I had noticed, towards the end of his career, towards the end of his life, is he was kind of going in a downward spiral of depression, right? He had just broken up with his girlfriend, Ariana Grande, and he was just going through a lot of dark times. Now, with his last album, he has a song on the album called Self-Care. Now, with Mac Miller's song, Self-Care, there's a lot to unpack in this particular song. Honestly, this song and the music video for this song most likely needs its own video, but I'll talk about it on this one here. So on this particular song, in the music video at least, we can see that the music video is set towards Mac Miller being in a grave, being in a casket underground, and he's just literally chilling, smoking a cigarette. Kind of looks like he's just relaxing in there, and we can really tell that, you know, he is underground. He's literally underground in a casket in the music video. And you know, that imagery right there is extremely haunting in terms of what ended up happening to him down the line. But in the song, basically all of the lyrics are talking about his death, talking about him dying, passing away. But just to highlight some lyrics in that song in and of itself, some of the lyrics that I wanted to point out for this video is when he says,
I switched to time zone, but what do I know? Spending nights hitchhiking, where will I go? I could fly home with my eyes closed, but if you're kinda hard to see, there's no surprise though.
Basically him saying, you know, I can fly home in terms of heaven with my eyes closed, shut forever. It's gonna be a little hard to see, but that's not a surprise, meaning he's dead. It's gonna be hard to see, obviously, because he's dead. Another line within the song goes,
Well, climbing over that wall. I remember, yes, I remember, yes, I remember it all. Swear the hype is too tall. So like September, I fall down below. Now I know that the medicine be on call. Yeah.
What he's saying is in September he falls down below, and then again down below, meaning in the grave. Now he knows the medicine is on call, meaning, you know, the drugs that I'm taking are gonna put me in the grave. And he says in September. It's very ominous. He says in September. Why did he say in September? When we look at the day he died on September 7th, literally a week into September. You have to be careful what you're saying. You have to be careful what you manifest. You have to be careful what kind of energy, what kind of actions, what kind of thoughts and words you are speaking to the world, because the world is listening. The world is hearing what you're saying, and it's responding to what you're saying in terms of the circumstances that it gives you in your life. And then another lyric here. Honestly, guys, this might deserve its own video, because this particular song, Self-Care, has a lot of just lyrics of his ominous end coming. But one of the next lyrics I'm gonna highlight here, and this might be the last lyric that I showcase here, is when he says,
I didn't know, I didn't know. I didn't know, I didn't know. Yeah. Well, I didn't know what I was missing. Now I see a little different. I was taking too much. Got stuck in oblivion, yeah, yeah. Oblivion, yeah, yeah. Oblivion, yeah, yeah.
I got stuck in oblivion. What is oblivion? What does oblivion mean? Now, according to dictionary.com, what oblivion means, and I'll showcase it right here, is the state of being unaware or unconscious of what is happening. A little bit more of a definition here. The fact or condition of not remembering, a state marked by lack of awareness or consciousness. Now, lack of awareness or consciousness, when we go from this life, obviously we don't have awareness or consciousness because of the fact that we're gone, we're simply not here anymore. And what did Max mean when he said, got stuck in oblivion? Yeah. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's very, very sad that Mac Miller passed away. But his lyrics, the things that he was saying in that video, the things that he was saying in the song in and of itself was just really him, again, putting out that energy, putting out those thoughts, putting out those words, the spoken word into the universe, and having that manifest in his own life. Obviously it manifesting in his own death. So we've seen all the artists, we've looked at their lyrics, we've seen a music video, we've seen what they've been saying in their songs. One thing that I want to showcase is something that Charlemagne the God and Snoop Dogg were talking about on an episode of The Breakfast Club, where Snoop Dogg is talking about the power of his pen, the power of the spoken word. And I'm going to include that video right now.
Look, I'm not here to judge that man, XXXTentacion. I know that he had domestic violence charges and was accused of beating his pregnant girlfriend. I get all that, but he's no longer here, and the only person who can judge him on that is his creator at this point. But I will acknowledge what I saw from him while he was here. And what I saw from him while he was here was him speaking a lot about death. Okay, I saw him say, next time, make sure you kill me so I can't talk. And I saw this video circulating online yesterday. Let me hear what he had to say.
Worst thing comes to worst, I die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams, I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive and to at least have a good life. If I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy, or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life.
He definitely died tragically. And I believe in Proverbs 18:21, which is the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So whatever you tell the universe you want, you will receive. Now, I'm not saying he's dead because he spoke about being killed, because the most God-fearing, life-loving individuals on the planet could get killed. All I'm saying is certain circumstances are going to happen in life regardless, but I'm not going to do anything to speed up that process, okay? You can listen to me all you want right now and say, hey, how can you say, what he spoke led to his death? I don't know it did, but I don't know if it didn't. So I'm encouraging everybody to speak life and not death. Interesting, we are having this conversation now because when Snoop was here, when was he here? Last month? He spoke on the power of the tongue. In particular, when he was fighting his murder case. These words Snoop spoke here on the Breakfast Club last month were powerful, but they went over some heads, but they are very timely now. Let me hear it.
Because when I wrote the song, I didn't have a murder case. And it just made me feel like my pen created this. And I look back at all of the rappers that was writing about death. They all dead. And it's our pen, it's what we was writing. I hope I live to see 21 and blah, blah, this and that. And I know I ain't gonna make it and death around the corner and I'm ready to die. And that's the era we come from, to prepare ourselves for death. So I started writing life after that.
That can apply to so many people. Okay, you get what you ask for and you get it because you asked for it. Proverbs 18:21. Google it. If you want to live by it, cool. If you don't want to live by it, that's cool too. Some people just don't want to just don't want to understand the reality of a situation.
Now, as you can see in that video, Snoop Dogg is talking about, how powerful our words are, how powerful it is, what we write down, what we say, what we think. Charlemagne the God also, adds his 2 cents into it, and it's extremely true. This whole process of manifestation is essentially how this whole thing works is whatever we're doing in terms of our work, in terms of what we're thinking, in terms of the things we're writing down on paper, in terms of just our overall effort, what we're putting our energy towards, what we're using our energy for, whether that's positive or whether that's negative, it comes back around to us eventually. Right? So if we're putting out negative thoughts, negative things, saying negative things, having negative actions, we're gonna have the universe see exactly what we're doing, and it's just responding to what we're doing. That's all it's doing. It's just responding to the energy that we're putting out, right? So if we're putting out constantly negative things, the universe is gonna say, okay, you want negative things? Here you go. Manifestation of negative things, right? But if we put out positive thoughts, if our work, we're positive in it, if our actions, we have positive actions, if we're just a positive individual overall and invite that positive manifestation to come, the universe is gonna do the same thing, invite positive things into our life, right? It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. The universe doesn't really tell the difference between the two. There's no right one or wrong one. It's simply responding to what you're putting out yourself. So that's why it's so important to just always be positive as much as you can. It's so important to constantly be thinking positive thoughts, constantly be doing positive actions. And when we are doing our work, when we are working on our passion or working on our craft or just our day-to-day lives, we have to make sure that we put positive thoughts, emotions, and actions behind that. Because the more that we do that, the more manifestation the universe is going to give to us in terms of positive things that are going to happen to us. So guys, that's really the whole video here in terms of manifestation. You can see with the examples that I used, especially Lil Peep, XXX, JuiceWrld, and Mac Miller, you can see how they all invited negative circumstances to come into their life and manifest out of what they were doing, what they were saying, what they were thinking. You can see how it all eventually led to their downfalls, to each of their deaths, and in ironic, coincidental ways that matched up with what they were saying in their, whether it was music, their interviews, their thoughts, their actions, whatever it was. They put out that thought, the universe caught that thought and then brought it right back into their lives, okay? This is something that doesn't just work for artists, okay? It works for everybody. Every single human being on the planet has this exact same power. We have the exact same power as everybody else, as these famous artists, as these celebrities, to put out that thought, to put out that spoken word and have it be a positive thing or a negative thing. The responsibility is for you to think positively. It's for you to keep yourself positive. It's for you to constantly always remember that your thoughts are eventually going to come back in one way, shape, or form or another. So you might as well be thinking positive thoughts instead of the negative, because we all want to have a positive lifestyle. We all want to have our dreams fulfilled. And we can do that simply with what we're putting out into the universe, what our energy is going towards, whether positive or negative. So guys, this is going to be the end of this video. I'm thinking about making a video talking about the basics of the law of attraction, talking about how this whole manifestation, law of attraction thing really works, and how it can work for you in your own personal life. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, you want to see more about, be sure to, if you're seeing this on Instagram, be sure to like it. Be sure to comment on it that you want to see more of this. If you're seeing this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, like, comment the video. But guys, I cannot wait to put out more content on this particular subject, because it's something I'm extremely passionate about and something that I really do believe every single human being on the planet should understand and at least be exposed to and understand and know. But other than that, guys, that's going to be the video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you have any particular questions on it, be sure to comment. If you see this on Instagram, you can go ahead and DM me. If you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment. I'll get back to you. But guys, with the parting words here, just remember, always be positive. Put out positive thoughts into the universe. Put out positive actions. Put out positive emotions into your work, and positive will come to your life. Stay away from the negative thoughts, because you can see how negative thoughts can react and happen and manifest into negative situations into your life. Have a good one, guys.